Welcome to this presentation of Why is my water bill so high? The cost of surface water conversion and educating customers in a social media world. I'm Eric Hansen.
And I'm Mike Thornhill. We serve on the West Harris County Regional Water Authority's Board of Directors and are coming to you live via pre-recorded broadcast from an undisclosed location somewhere in West Harris County. As we were preparing this presentation, an opportunity appeared out of that deep black hole known as social media that directly related to comments that we have received from our constituent MUDs regarding educating the end users and residential customers about the regional water authorities and the surface water fee that appears on most customers' water bills. We recently heard from our partners in the North Fort Bend Water Authority that a survey indicated that a significant number of respondents were unaware of subsidence in the area or the problems that it has caused.
That's right, Mike. Let's begin with the comments that we found on one social media platform just this past June. This screenshot shows a comment that was posted to social media. It asks a simple enough question. Has anyone else seen a jump in their water bills? This person saw their bill jump from $50 to $200 and was certain that they did not have any leaks. This post was seen 125 times in 6 days and was seen by people living in 40 separate neighborhoods. The following slides show how most of the people responding not only didn't answer the question that was asked, but also provided the wrong answers to completely different questions. Here we can see where one response mentions a $40 fee from a wholesaler in Fort Bend County that does not exist in Harris County. This response is wrong in that Fort Bend County does not have a $40 flat fee from a water wholesaler. This next response turns the focus from a monthly bill increase to focus specifically on surface water as the reason for an increase in the water bill. This response is one of my favorites. This person hasn't seen a water bill increase, but is sure that there is something sketchy going on, begins to spread rumors about what they have heard about energy surcharges, and suggests calling the news to investigate these sketchy practices. This next response actually makes a little bit of sense. The water bill could have been based on an estimated usage, or the meter could be defective. Whatever the problem, the recommended course of action was to call the MUD to have the water meter re-verified. This was a pretty good answer. These next two responses hit close to home for the West Harris County Regional Water Authority. The first comment accurately describes surface water drainage or stormwater capture, but incorrectly states that the captured water is treated and that there is a fee for this. The last comment on this is from an educated customer. While this response has now completely ignored the original question, it does set the record straight regarding the conversion to surface water and the associated fees. This is the right answer, and it was provided by a member of the MUD board for the district in which the homeowner lives. The reason for the water bill increase was related to usage estimating by the operator as a result of the COVID-19 related stay home, stay safe. The response also accurately identifies increased water usage due to people working from home. Although not mentioned, increased irrigation in the summer months is also a reason for increased water usage during this time of year. With all of the confusion that we saw from residents on social media, what do we want MUDs to know? Well, first, we would like to share a brief history of land subsidence in Harris and surrounding counties, as well as the creation of the regional water authorities. Second, we want to help MUD districts and their customers understand the scope of the surface water conversion program and its expected costs. Third, we want to let MUDs know, especially in West Harris County and North Fort Bend County, that there are financial incentives to implement water conservation and reuse programs. Finally, we want to let everyone know what the West Harris County Regional Water Authority is doing to provide outreach to MUDs and water users through billing inserts and social media. While parts of our presentation are specific to the West Harris County Regional Water Authority, we want to also make this presentation relevant at a regional level. The total regional cost of $5.96 billion includes the Loose Bayou Interbasin Transfer Project, the Northeast Water Plant Expansion, the Northeast Large Diameter Transmission Line, and the Surface Water Supply Project Large Diameter Transmission Line, and the 4 water authorities' internal CIP distribution systems. This is the estimated cost to achieve our next conversion milestone of being converted to 60% surface water by 2025. Here you can see the estimated cost of these projects separated by each participant. As we progress through the presentation, please keep in mind that the water authorities do not have the ability to levy a tax the way a MUD district does. All of these conversion costs are paid for through the surface water and groundwater pumpage fees charged by each water authority. But now, before I turn this over to Mike, we would like to show a brief video that was produced for the groundbreaking event for the Surface Water Supply Project. the 39-mile, 96-inch diameter transmission line, bringing water from the Northeast Water Plant Expansion Project to West Harris County and North Fort Bend County.
The West Harris County Regional Water Authority, created in 2001, and the North Fort Bend Water Authority, created in 2005, were created in response to subsidence district mandates to combat the regional problem of subsidence, or the sinking of the ground surface as a result of excessive pumping of our groundwater resources, which have historically supported regional growth. These two water authorities, in partnership with the City of Houston and the North and the Central Harris County Regional Water Authorities, are undertaking a massive regional water supply project to convert from groundwater wells to lake and river water, or surface water, to comply with subsidence district requirements. Here is a brief history and description of the components to this regional project. The Harris-Galveston Subsidence District, created in 1975, and the Fort Bend Subsidence District, created in 1989, were formed by the Texas Legislature to study and control subsidence in Harris, Galveston, and Fort Bend counties. These efforts initially required industries along the Houston Ship Channel to convert from groundwater to surface water, and the results were dramatic. Subsidence in the Baytown-Pasadena area was dramatically improved and has since been largely halted. As the region grew, evidence of subsidence and the serious decline in aquifers confirmed the need to also convert other areas within the region to surface water. The first phase of the subsequent mandate to reduce groundwater reliance by 30% was successfully completed in the early 2010s. The next deadline requires the conversion to 60% surface water by 2025, and areas in Harris County will be further increased to 80% surface water by 2035. Back in the 1950s, some visionary Houston officials understood that achieving the region's future economic potential hinged on securing the rights to nearby surface water resources. Their foresight led to the construction of 3 man-made lakes as drinking water supply reservoirs: Lake Conroe and Lake Houston, which are fed by the San Jacinto River, and Lake Livingston, fed by the Trinity River. These lakes and rivers allow the Houston area region to rely on the surface water resources secured all those years ago. However, there are still some hurdles ahead, because there's not enough water in the San Jacinto River system to meet our 2025 needs and beyond. So where will these future supplies come from, and how will we pay for them? Since their creation, the water authorities have complied with subsidence district groundwater reduction mandates and are also responsible for building the water pipelines to deliver treated surface water to the municipal utility districts, MUDs, and other wholesale water customers who ultimately serve hundreds of thousands of residents. And that's no small task. In order to provide this much-needed water to their customers, an alliance of regional water providers, including the City of Houston, the Central, North, and West Harris County Regional Water Authorities, the North Fort Bend Water Authority, and the Coastal Water Authority, have teamed up to initiate the Loose Bayou Interbasin Transfer Project, as well as the Northeast Water Purification Plant Expansion Project. The Loose Bayou Project, with the capacity to bring raw water from the Trinity River to Lake Houston and the City of Houston's Northeast Water Purification Plant, includes the Capers Ridge Pump Station on the west bank of the Trinity River, as well as a series of pipelines and canals. This project will be able to divert up to 500 million gallons of water a day from the Trinity River and pump it into side-by-side 96-inch diameter underground pipelines. To provide an idea of the size of these pipes, a Ford F-150 pickup truck could drive through these 8-foot diameter pipes with room to spare. This water will flow through these pipelines to a storage and sedimentation basin, and then into a canal that runs into the northeastern tip of Lake Houston. In anticipation of more raw water coming into the San Jacinto Lake Houston Reservoir, the regional water authorities and the City of Houston forged a partnership to accomplish an expansion of the Northeast Water Purification Plant, with each paying its fair share of the costs. The Northeast Water Purification Plant Expansion Project is a multi-billion-dollar project, which will be completed in phases by 2025 and will add an additional 320 million gallons a day of water treatment capacity. The water from Lake Houston will be treated at the Northeast Water Purification Plant, and then will be conveyed to the water authorities through major transmission pipelines. The Surface Water Supply Project is a joint project between the West Harris County Regional Water Authority and the North Fort Bend Water Authority that will bring 151 million gallons a day of water from the new Northeast Water Purification Plant through a 96-inch diameter pipeline that will cross US 59, the Hardy Toll Road, Interstate 45, US 290, and Beltway 8 twice, carrying much-needed treated surface water from Lake Houston across almost 40 miles of Houston and Harris County to water users in West Harris County and North Fort Bend County. This water will ultimately be delivered to municipal utility districts and other wholesale water customers through each authority's internal distribution system for use by the residents and businesses. All of these factors, coupled with the cost of constructing each authority's internal water transmission system, will impact the future cost of water. How will we pay for all of these projects? The water authorities were not given taxing authority when they were created by the state legislature. Instead of taxes, water fees are charged for groundwater pumped by water well owners within the authority's boundaries and for the delivery of surface water. The water fees charged by each water authority are then used to repay the numerous bonds that have been sold to fund each of the water authority's shares of these regional projects. While the water authorities have pledged to keep the fees as low as possible for as long as possible, we know that the cost of water will continue to increase in the future. The West Harris County Regional Water Authority and North Fort Bend Water Authority will continue to work with other regional water providers to provide a secure, reliable, long-term supply of potable water for our neighbors and community at the best possible cost. The water we can serve today can serve us tomorrow.
Welcome back. Now that you have a good understanding about the need to educate yourselves as mud directors and as water consumers, as well as the history of the regional subsidence and the purpose of the water authorities, I would like to share some information about the West Harris County Regional Water Authority and the projects that we are involved with. We'll begin with some general information about the West Authority. We have a land area of 226 square miles with an estimated population of 450,000 people. Our boundaries include 144 municipal utility districts and other special purpose districts, as well as the city of Katy. We also have 9 contract MUDs, and finally we have 317 permitted wells that are located within our boundary. The Luce Bayou Interbasin Transfer Project is really what kicks everything off for surface water conversion. The City of Houston contracted with the Coastal Water Authority, or CWA, for engineering design, permitting, real estate acquisition, and construction of the project. CWA was successful in obtaining 2 Texas Water Development Board water infrastructure loans in 2009 and 2010 that totaled approximately $33 million. This provided funding for project route studies, surveying, geotechnical, and environmental studies, as well as preliminary engineering. In 2015, CWA applied for and was awarded State Water Implementation Fund for Texas funding in the amount of $300 million. This covered a substantial portion of the cost of this project at very attractive financing rates. Ultimately, the Luce Bayou project began design in 2014 and began phased construction in late 2015, with an anticipated completion date of June 2019. As this project nears completion, the final estimated cost is approximately $350 million. Luce Bayou will transfer up to 500 million gallons of water each day from the Trinity River to the headwaters of the Lake Houston, so that there will be enough water to be treated by the Northeast Water Purification Plant expansion project. This project includes the Capers Ridge Pump Station, 3 miles of dual 96-inch pipeline, and 23.5 miles of open canals. The project was scheduled for completion in June 2019, but is slightly delayed for weather. The Luce Bayou project is nearly complete, and the West Authority's share of this project is approximately $70 million, and will increase our water demand allocation to 82 million gallons per day, with a total water demand allocation of 110 million gallons of water per day. The next link in the chain of surface water conversion is the Northeast Water Plant Expansion Project. This $1.97 billion project is managed by the City of Houston and will serve the city and 4 regional water authorities, with each paying their fair share of the cost. This progressive design build project will add an existing 320 million gallons of treatment capacity to the city's existing 80 million gallon per day plant, and is being built in several phases. The first phase of 80 million gallons a day is scheduled to be complete in January 2023. Phase 2 will provide the remaining 240 million gallons a day treatment capacity by June 2025, in time to meet the 60% water conversion requirements in 2025. The West Authority will have a 25.76% cost share and 82.42 million gallons per day of treated water. Our total cost share in this project is approximately $488 million. The photos on this slide show the dual 96-inch diameter raw water intake pipes and the offshore water intake structure. This photo shows the Northeast Water Purification Plant expansion project and its current construction progress. The work is 31.5% complete, and the contractor has billed $543.8 million through July 2020. The third link in the surface water conversion chain is the Surface Water Supply Project, or the SWSP. The West Harris County Regional Water Authority, in partnership with North Fort Bend Water Authority, will build an approximately 39-mile-long, 8-foot diameter water transmission line from the City of Houston's Northeast Water Plant near Lake Houston, crossing Harris County and ending in far West Harris County. An additional 13.5 miles of water lines will also travel south to Fort Bend County to deliver water to the North Fort Bend Water Authority's Bel Air pump station. The large diameter line project includes 96, 84, 66, and 42-inch pipelines, as well as 2 pump stations. The Surface Water Supply Project is estimated to cost $1.2 billion, with the West Authority paying $660 million and the North Fort Bend Water Authority paying $540 million. Likewise, the City of Houston and the North and Central Harris County Regional Water Authorities are building another large diameter water transmission line known as the Northeast Transmission Line, which is estimated to cost $480 million. The photos on this slide illustrate the size of the pipelines. Note the man standing outside the pipe, as well as the inspectors walking through a completed section of large diameter pipeline. In this slide, we wanted to show the size and scale of these large diameter pipeline projects. The fourth and final link in the chain for our surface water conversion program is the internal distribution system, which delivers treated surface water to mud district water plants. Each of the other 3 regional water authorities has their own internal distribution systems as well. The West Harris County Regional Water Authority has been implementing the surface water conversion program for many years and met the first conversion requirements of 30% in 2010. Our 30% conversion phase cost $162.8 million. In order to meet the 30% conversion mandate, the West Authority purchased 28.25 million gallons a day of water from the City of Houston. This water is delivered to our pump station number 1, then through 57 miles of pipelines, and then sold to 40 MUDs through delivery points at 47 water plants. We have continued our surface water conversion even after we met our 30% conversion mandate in 2010 by converting an additional 12 mud districts. The West Authority is currently 36% converted to surface water, having converted 52 MUDs connecting to 58 water plants and a network of 70 miles of water line. To meet the 60% surface water conversion mandate in 2025, we have to continue to sell more bonds and add more water lines. Our future internal distribution line projects are expected to cost approximately $215 million. We will add an additional 27.7 million gallons a day of treated water from the Northeast Water Plant expansion through our Surface Water Supply Project large diameter transmission pipeline to deliver a total of 59.9 million gallons of water each day to our mud districts. The 2025 conversion will also bring an additional 43.2 miles of distribution water lines to convert an additional 24 MUDs to surface water by delivering water to 37 additional water plants. For those of you wondering about the math, we deliver to multiple water plants within a single MUD. Here is a list of the additional districts that will be connected to meet the 2025 conversion mandate. Our current construction schedule for the Surface Water Supply Project is for completion to occur in early 2025. As construction progresses, we will begin to notify MUD districts 18 to 24 months ahead of the connection date to allow for plenty of time to design, build, and implement the transition to chloramine disinfection. Once we achieve our 60% conversion requirement in 2025, we will have to continue expanding our internal distribution system in order to meet the last conversion mandate of being converted to 80% surface water in 2035. Our 80% surface water will see us spend an estimated additional $79.5 million. This expansion will include delivering a total of 70 million gallons of treated water each day through an additional 39.5 miles of water lines. This conversion phase will also see the conversion of an additional 17 MUDs to surface water through 19 additional water plants. Now that we have reviewed the various components of surface water conversion, I will turn things back over to Eric to discuss the financial aspects of these projects and how we are paying for them.
Thanks, Mike. We have heard the concerns over water rate increases over the years and have done everything we can to keep rates as low as possible. Our efforts have included refinancing older bonds with new bonds at lower rates. We have also taken advantage of state programs through the Texas Water Development Board to receive lower bond costs. This part of our presentation will demonstrate the cost of this project in a way that shows where we have been and where we will still need to go in order to pay the costs of the Harris-Galveston Subsidence District 2025 60% conversion mandate. Some of the things that I will cover here include the total estimated cost to reach the 60% conversion mandate, our water rates, how we will pay for this, and the alternative if there is one. We have already shown the regional cost of these projects as being nearly $6 billion, but since Mike and I are both with the West Authority, we want to share the West costs with you and show you how they impact our water rates. This information would be proportionately similar for any of our 4 regional water authorities' conversion programs. The total cost of the West Harris County Regional Water Authority's 2025 60% conversion program is estimated to be almost $1.6 billion. Our $1.6 billion costs include $70 million for our share of Loose Bayou, $488 million for our share of the Northeast Water Plant Expansion Project, $660 million for our share of the Large Diameter Water Line Surface Water Supply Project, the Repump Station, and the Central Pump Station, and $378 million for our internal distribution lines to deliver water to the various Mud District water plants. This is a simple slide with a complicated backstory. To start with, we know that the authority must charge sufficient rates to cover debt service payments and operating costs. We have 19 years of experience in setting fair and reasonable rates. We have relied on the services of an independent rate analyst to calculate the authority's rates and cover our costs. The Board of Directors is committed to keeping the cost of water as low as possible and to keep the periodic rate increases reasonable and consistent with this commitment. The authority has increased its water rates 25 cents per year for the past several years, and we anticipate raising rates again in 2021. These rate increases represent a $2.50 per month increase for each of the past several years for a 10,000 gallon per month user. This table shows a comparison of the 4 regional water authorities' current rates and the date they became effective. Just as a point of reference, if we were not meeting our surface water conversion requirements, or if a MUD was not part of our groundwater reduction plan, or GRP, the Harris-Galveston Subsidence District would assess a $9.24 disincentive fee. Similarly, the Fort Bend Subsidence District would assess a $6.50 disincentive fee to the North Fort Bend Water Authority. So what exactly do the water authorities' fees pay for? In addition to the large-scale projects that need to be funded over the next few years, to the tune of nearly $1.6 billion, we need to continue to pay the everyday costs of operating the current system. These costs include the annual Subsidence District permit fees that we have to pay to keep the existing Mud District groundwater wells permitted within the authority's boundaries, the price of treated surface water that we have to purchase from the City of Houston, as well as our own operation and maintenance costs for the infrastructure we already have in the ground. Since the Water Authority does not have any taxing authority, as MUDs do, we must achieve all of our revenue through the Water Authority fee without additional monies from yearly property taxes. Most of our water fees go to pay the debt service on the bonds that were sold to pay for Loose Bayou, the Northeast Water Plant, the Surface Water Supply Project, and our internal distribution water lines. Finally, we must pay our daily operation costs, such as power, maintenance, and system operations. This chart shows how the West Authority budget is allocated. I have seen similar charts for the North Harris County Regional Water Authority and the North Fort Bend Water Authority, and the cost breakdowns are proportionately very similar among all of the water authorities. This chart is very telling in a number of ways. First, we can see that almost 80% of our annual operating budget goes to pay for the debt service on the bonds we have sold. Another 8% of our budget pays for the treated surface water that we buy from the City of Houston. Together, these costs represent 87% of our total annual budget. The other telling thing about this chart is the orange slice showing net operating income of $3.1 million. This represents the difference between our income from water rates and our anticipated operating costs. This category shows just how tightly we plan our budgets, as the $3.1 million represents less than a 15-day cushion if you were to calculate our budget cost per month. We really are doing everything we can to keep our water rates as low as possible. In order to add a little more color to the bonds that we are selling and our efforts to keep our rates as low as possible, the West Authority has applied for and received commitments from the Water Development Board, in the amount of $999,105,000. Our financial analyst has estimated that our participation in the Texas Water Development Board program will save the authority and our water ratepayers approximately $400 million in interest payments over the life of the bonds. If there's anyone from the Water Development Board watching this presentation, we would like to take this opportunity to thank you for being a financial partner on our projects, as well as all the water authorities and City of Houston's projects. The remainder of our cost through the 2025 conversion and then the 2035 conversion will be paid for through traditional open market bonds. As we have seen already, the authority is undertaking extremely large projects and has no taxing authority. As we complete these projects and achieve our 60% surface water conversion requirement in 2025, we will have to continue to sell additional bonds and continue to raise our rates to pay for these projects. In 2019, the authority sold $265 million of open market and Water Development Board bonds. We expect to sell $77 million of bonds later this year, and we are projecting a very large bond sale next year in late 2021 in the amount of $363 million. I want to close this section of our presentation with the alternative, if there is one. When the West Harris County Regional Water Authority was created, MUD districts had the option of staying in the authority GRP, or groundwater reduction plan, or to opt out. Those who opted out probably joined another GRP and are paying for those rates. However, without participating in a GRP, a MUD would be subject to the current Harris-Galveston Subsidence District disincentive fee of $9.24 per 1,000 gallons. This slide demonstrates the difference between the HGSD fee for non-GRP water users and the West Harris County water rates and how it works. We can see that for those MUD districts in the West Authority, the authority fee represents a savings of nearly $40 per month when compared to being subject to the Subsidence District's disincentive fee. Now that we've seen the cost impact of all these projects and that all of the funding comes from water rates instead of taxes, I'm going to turn things back over to Mike to discuss water reuse, conservation, and education. After that completely depressing financial presentation, we all need to be able to feel good about finding ways to take control of our water costs.
That's right. As the water costs increase, the best offense is a good defense. There are a number of things that can be done to reduce our water usage by becoming more efficient in how we use it. The cheapest water is the water we already have. And the biggest way to keep our water bills as low as possible is to use less high-quality treated water when there are less expensive alternatives. One alternative water source is effluent reuse, where water is treated at a wastewater treatment or sewer plant and then used for large irrigation users such as homeowners association, golf courses, parks, and other recreational or neighborhood landscape irrigation. Rainwater capture is another source of alternative water. Amenity lakes with extra storage capacity can also be used to catch and store rainwater that can then be used for irrigation. Homeowners can do this on a much smaller scale to catch rainwater in barrels for irrigating gardens and flower beds. The water authorities have adopted policies to encourage the use of alternative water supplies and have even provided monetary incentives for MUDs to use alternate water sources for non-potable water use. We do this with alternative water credit agreements between the water well owners and the water authority. These agreements incentivize effluent reuse projects and rainwater capture projects. An entity must have a groundwater well to qualify for this program. So how does this program work? It's fairly simple. First, contact the water authority's engineer to discuss the project and confirm the project qualifies for the program. Second, once the project is approved and an alternative water supply agreement is in place, the water authority will issue credits for alternative water use that has been recorded through a meter. The credits are issued at a rate equal to 1/2 of the current groundwater reduction pumpage fee, which is currently $3.20 per 1,000 gallons. The credit period is limited to 10 years and is capped to be no more than the approved capital cost of the project. The credits may be used against any fees owed to the West Authority. Today, the West Harris County Regional Water Authority has alternative water credit agreements for 2 non-potable surface water projects, 6 rainwater capture projects, and 9 reuse projects, including 2 projects who are about to sign agreements with the authority. Now that we have heard what MUDs, homeowners associations, and other groundwater well owners are doing to offset the water authority fees, what about your customers? the homeowners themselves. What can you do to conserve water at your home? Did you know that some estimates indicate that up to 80% of water can be used for irrigation? Did you know that up to 50% of that water is often wasted? Avoiding excessive irrigation is the best way to conserve water and keep our water bills as low as possible. Water less and save more. So how do we water less? There are a few simple ways. 1. Learn about how much water your lawn really needs to thrive. 2. Take control of your sprinkler system to minimize the number of watering cycles and the length of each cycle. Be sure to water at the right time of day. 3. Take advantage of technology to make informed decisions. The Water Authority has resources to help with all of this. One of those resources is Irrigator the alligator. Irrigator is working to spread the word about water conservation and irrigation. One of the things that Irrigator wants you to know is that the Water Authority has sponsored a weather station that is installed at our pump station number 1 near Jersey Village. This weather station is part of a partnership with Texas A&M AgriLife and a network of 57 other weather stations combined with the best science available to determine how much water your lawn needs to thrive. Once you sign up, the website or mobile app sends alerts with weekly watering recommendations. You can sign up at irrigator.com or watermyyard.org. This is an example of the Water My Yard website where you can sign up. Once you have signed up, you can choose your closest weather station. In this example, the science is telling us that during one of the hottest weeks of the summer so far, your yard needs to be watered once per week with 0.67 inches of water. The system estimates that should take about 80 minutes with a garden hose and oscillating sprinkler. There are also settings for zoned irrigation systems. And with that, I will turn it back over to Eric for some final thoughts.
Thank you, Mike. As we close, let's revisit the title of this presentation, The Cost of Surface Water Conversion and Educating Customers in a Social Media World. We have discussed what happens in the Wild West of social media, where the uneducated run rampant and lawlessness reigns supreme. We have provided you with the who, what, why, when, where, and how of the Regional Surface Water Conversion Program, both for the West Harris County Regional Water Authority, as well as our other 3 Water Authority partners and the City of Houston. As you return to your mud boards, your homes and neighbors, please remember that it is up to you to help better educate the region regarding subsidence surface water conversion and what these costs are paying for. Harris County and the surrounding counties are all battling a subsidence problem, and we are all required to convert to surface water as part of the solution. The 4 regional water authorities and the City of Houston are required to convert to 60% surface water by 2025, and we estimate that it will take $5.96 billion to get there. The bonds that pay for these projects have to be sold before the projects can start, which is why the Water Authority's water fees have been steadily increasing. All of the pieces of this regional solution are now under construction. The MUDs and water authorities need to utilize every available avenue to communicate with the end users and homeowners. This was another right answer provided by a MUD district board member. This didn't directly answer the question about an increase in the monthly water bill. However, it did provide a simple and direct link to the frequently asked questions section of the West Harris County Regional Water Authority website. So how do we educate customers in a social media world? The West Harris County Regional Water Authority publishes 2 newsletters throughout the year, Partners in Progress and Waterworks, which are mailed throughout the authority to communicate with and educate the residential end users. These are also available on our website. Since we recognize that it may not be practical for MUDs to generate their own newsletters, the Water Authority has numerous brochures designed to be used by MUDs as billing inserts. These brochures cover a wide range of topics from water leaks to water conservation and many things in between. These brochures are free to MUD districts, can be ordered online. There are several series and themes to choose from, and the new irrigation brochures will be available this month. We also have other educational programs, including the mobile teaching labs that are used in our school outreach programs. These trailers are also available to MUDs for special events like Neighbors Night Out, Shred Days, and Heavy Trash Days. The Water Authority Mobile Teaching Lab is available free to districts for community events and to schools and educators. The lab is staffed by a retired science teacher, Ms. Waterlady, who makes short presentations on the highlighted topics. You can find us on the World Wide Web, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on YouTube. We also have a dedicated website for the Surface Water Supply Project. And with the addition of our new weather station, we are part of a network using science and technology to promote water conservation. Mike and I would like to thank you for logging in and participating in this presentation. We hope it has been entertaining and educational, and we thank you very much for joining us today.